Hello, my name is HQ of Hqreactshq. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content.
Hello. So. We are back here again. And I recall saying we were going to be back here again, or thinking we were going to be back here again because of this peace deal. Nobody worth their salt knew or thought this would last. It hasn't worked in 75 years, and nobody has done anything beyond what they have been doing to make peace come to the Middle East. Now, Donald Trump, you're no different from anybody else. These things have to be done differently, right? What were the key terms to this ceasefire? All military operations had to stop. Strikes, shellings, bombardments. Israel paused aerial surveillance. Both of them agreed to stop the hostilities, right? Hamas committed to releasing all remaining hostages held in Gaza. That was a good step. They had 72-hour window from Friday to Monday. Starting after that, Israel withdrew to agree to hard lines. Let's get back here. Hand over the hostages, the bodies. Israel agreed to many Palestinian prisoners and detainees being released. One publicly cited figure is about 2,000 Palestinians that needed to be released, including those arrested since the war began. Troop withdrawal. Israel was supposed to pull back forces to mutually agreed lines in Gaza within 24 hours of ratifying this agreement. That was in the first phase. Part of the Gaza will remain under Israeli control, but not in densely populated areas in which Palestinians live. The ceasefire also included opening border crossings and allowing large amounts of food and aid because they have been starved. Palestinian people have been being starved. Okay, one target was hundreds of trucks per day, I guess, or even around 600 trucks per day to come in earlier proposals. Also enabling civilians to return to their homes. I don't know what homes they were going to return to, but it was what it was. This deal was the only part of phase one. Later phases would involve more hostage exchanges, all hostage exchanges, greater withdrawal, and possibly governance or transition. Second phase, full withdrawal of Israeli forces. We didn't even get to the second phase. But my understanding and from what I'm hearing, they had no intention of keeping this promise. Neither one of them had any intention of keeping these promises because we've been here before. I knew we had been here before. I just didn't believe it, right? Listen.
So there's a bunch of idiots out there right this second that are celebrating what Trump has done with Israel and Gaza and pretending like this is some massive victory that's going to last, when the reality could not be further from the truth. So first of all, the only good part of this is that the 20 hostages are freed on the Israeli side, but also 2,000 hostages are freed on the Palestinian side. That's the only positive thing. Everything else is hell on earth, and it's already bad, and it's going to get way worse. This was a ruse. This was a fake peace agreement is what it was. In the same way that Trump lured Qasem Soleimani for negotiations and then fucking murdered him, in the same way he did that, he now also duped Hamas and is going to absolutely blow up this agreement and pretend, just like Netanyahu will, that, oh, Hamas was the one that broke the agreement. Absolute nonsense. All right, so let me walk you through what has already happened. Guys, Israel has already violated the peace agreement. Let me repeat. Israel has already violated the peace agreement. Let's start with this. Drop site news. Israeli soldiers torched food, homes, and critical sewage treatment plant in the wake of ceasefire announcement. Soldiers called the mass arson of Gaza City their, quote, final touches. So understand, the torching of food and homes and critical sewage treatment plant, the torching of that, without a doubt, is an attempt to continue to make Gaza completely and utterly unlivable. So they have to leave so Israel can steal all of the territory. Now, even under the fake peace agreement, even under that, Israel withdraws, but still maintains control of 60% of Gaza's territory, including the fertile lands. So it total ruse. It's a total fucking ruse. But even that's not enough, because what they want is, hey, even the people who are inside of this territory, the area that, in theory, they get to keep, even that, they're trying to ruin everything and make it so it's unlivable. All right, more. This is the reality of what Palestinians are returning to. I see the people saying, oh, Palestinians are going home. Really? So this is their home. Take a look. Ready?
في هذه المنطقة هذه منطقة الكتيبة شمالي مدينة خان يونس إضافة إلى مناطق أخرى سويت في الأرض كما نشاهد هذه البيوت والشوارع الدمار يطالها بالكامل هنا أيضا وسط.
My question is, what are they returning to? I can't even fathom. I've only seen their tents, open-aired homes next to the sea. So I can't even imagine what is he paying attention? What is he taking a picture of, a videotape of?
Everywhere he looks, something to like 80 to 90% of Gaza's buildings are destroyed. 80 to 90%. By the way, on this video alone, I have a fucking bridge to sell you if you're dumb enough to think, oh, this was defensive and they were only going after Hamas. If you actually believe that, you might be the dumbest person on the planet. You might be the person that falls for the wallet inspector, right? You might be the person who falls for the Nigerian prince email. Because there's about 30,000 Hamas members, and there were over 2 million people in Gaza. But somehow you blew up 80 to 90% of all of the buildings in Gaza, and we're supposed to believe this was super targeted and defensive against Hamas. What a sick joke. Look at this. I'll let the video keep playing. Look at this. This is unconscionable. This is absurd. And then, by the way, of course, civil society can't function here, right? The infrastructure is completely and utterly obliterated. There's nothing left. So how you live here, I mean, it's basically like you hopped in a time machine and went back to the year 1700.
See, my thing is this. If it's so bad, if it looks like that, what do you have to go back to for one? For one, what do you have to go back to? Where are you sleeping? Where are you working? And you're going to need help in order to rejuvenate everything. I mean, because that looks obliterated. Almost from far as I can see, that place looks obliterated.
You're living in old-fashioned lifestyle. Look at this. Look at this. This is ridiculous. And this is what they're returning to. And by the way, let's also say this. If anybody is celebrating at this moment, when this is what has already happened to Gaza, that takes a special kind of sickness. It really does. The idiots like that trigonometry dipshit, the idiots like Piers Morgan, who's out there and they're like singing Trump's praises. Really? Really? Even if you take the best interpretation of what they're doing with this peace agreement, even under the best interpretation, this is hardly something to fucking celebrate. But also they're lying, and so that's not what's going to happen. Anyway, let's continue. More. So get this.
He keeps saying they're lying all throughout this. There's going to be a lot of work in order to rebuild this country. I don't understand why. At the end of this, I'm going to give you my two-state solution. What we could do to help, or what we could do to put them on the road to prosperity. I don't know, but I don't know what the hell is the problem with them. I don't know. Let's see.
How you know. So Israel's already violated the fake peace agreement, but they have a history and a track record of doing this, so Dropsite points out. After the Lebanon-Israel ceasefire agreement was signed, Israel launched an intense bombing campaign on southern Lebanese towns. Israel has since violated the ceasefire more than 4,500 times. 4,500 times. A journalist was on the ground in these towns where residents are attempting to return to their towns amid constant drone attacks, airstrikes, and sniper surveillance from nearby Israeli-occupied hilltops. Lofredo spoke with the mayor of this town, who is struggling to oversee rebuilding efforts under ongoing Israeli attacks, and visited Lebanese homes that were used as Israeli military bases during last year's ground invasion. So here, I'll play some of this for you. But bottom line is, there was a so-called ceasefire reached with Lebanon, and Israel has attacked 4,500 times since that ceasefire. So it's not really a ceasefire. It's you cease and we fire. That's what that means. Watch this. The Israelis adopted a scorched earth policy here and try to destroy everything in front of them. You see the bullet holes in the walls. This shop used to have a curtain, so the soldiers were suspicious, and they.
So my question is, why is the world allowing this to happen? I guess. So why is it happening and nobody is helping the people if they see there's something going on like this, or they're being starved, or they're being pushed out, or they're being put to right out into the sea, or pushed into the sea? Why isn't anybody doing anything about it? Are we just allowing the conquer factor, people to conquer whoever they're going to conquer?
Fired 400 to 500 rounds to kill anyone who might be in the inside the shop. Jesus Christ. All right, so you guys get it, but ceasefire my ass. That's what the ceasefire is. All right, Ryan Grimm says the following. In the Tal al-Zatar neighborhood in Jabalia in North Gaza, sources say Israeli armed gangs operating with the support of Israel.
Because they don't give a fuck about the poor people here, Black America. They give a fuck about the poor people over there. They don't give a fuck about the poor people here.
Israeli quadcopters attacked Al-Ada's hospital and are detaining staff. This is after the ceasefire. This is during the so-called peace agreement. Israel seems to have prepared for the eventuality of a ceasefire by organizing proxy forces to continue fighting at a lower level. Do you understand what that means? There are literally ISIS-affiliated gangs. I'm not kidding. ISIS-affiliated gangs that Israel hired, and they paid them to go in and basically steal a lot of the humanitarian assistance that was supposed to go into Gaza. So, they didn't allow in a whole lot of humanitarian food and water and medicine and stuff like that. So they didn't allow a lot of it in. But every now and then they would send in a truck or two, right? And Israel would pay these ISIS-affiliated gangs to go and steal all the goods. Then Israel would turn around to the world and go, oh, look at that, Hamas is stealing all the goods. Total lie. They knew they were lying. They're paying these ISIS-affiliated gangs to steal it. So that's what was already happening. But now with the so-called peace deal, Israel organized with these ISIS-affiliated gangs and said, now we want you guys to do more of the fighting for us. And they pay them for it. They pay them for it. So Israel is paying ISIS-affiliated gangs to start attacking Palestinians because there's a peace agreement. So they go, who, us? We're not even doing it, bro. It's them. Look, it's not even us. There's some inner turmoil, some inner fighting amongst different Palestinian factions. This one is dark. Israel is planning to use the missing bodies of hostages as an excuse to destroy the ceasefire. As we know, 8 to 10 deceased hostages cannot be located due to the intense bombing. Now Israel is threatening that unless these bodies are found, they will prevent reconstruction of key sites and infrastructure in Gaza.
Mm-hmm. So each person on each side is trying to find a reason to start this war up again. They don't want a ceasefire. From all from all people that I've listened to, they don't really want a ceasefire. Israel wants to wipe Palestinian people off the map, and the Hamas people want Israel gone from their land. They don't want ceasefire.
Including halting building, restoration projects, and the introduction of civilian goods. They will block humanitarian aid and supplies, such as caravans, bakery openings, and other civil equipment. They will issue closure orders for specific areas in Gaza, stopping any work there until searches for the bodies are completed. The problem with the bodies is Israel's fault, but that will not stop it from cynically leveraging it to prevent Gazans from being able to live normal lives. The plan is clear.
How can they live normal lives and they don't have anywhere to live? They live under tents. They live under open tents. I mean, how do they even conduct business? Maybe we're just seeing a part of that place. Maybe we're not seeing the whole place. Maybe we're just seeing a part of the place. And the rest of the places, maybe looks good. Maybe we're just seeing videos of what they want us to see. I don't know.
To keep Gaza unlivable, to facilitate ethnic cleansing, and create an excuse to open fire again to complete the genocide. So guys, this is all this stuff is already public.
But see, you have to ask yourself one question. How do you get to the point where you, regardless of what is happening between you having a war, how do you just starve a people knowing that you're supposed to give them food, and if they don't get food, that means they're going to starve and die? How does a nation deserve sympathy if they do that to another set of people? That's my question. How do you have sympathy for a nation that does this to a single set of people?
This is the point I'm trying to make to you guys, is that anybody taking this at face value, taking this seriously, pretending like we've reached a final peace, I mean, that's just fucking absurd and stupid. Director of Forensic Archaeology notes that Israel's withdrawal line leaves Israel in control of the absolute majority of Gaza's agricultural areas and fertile soil. So again, they're withdrawing from Gaza, but keeping 60% of the land, and that land is the most fertile land. Israel is planning to enforce an annihilation zone across the so-called yellow line inside the area it supposedly withdrew from. The instructions are to avoid killing as much as possible until the hostages return, and then, according to the battalion and brigade commanders, will begin to enforce control along the yellow line. So, yet again, I'm correct when I said the day we learned about this, fake peace agreement. That's what this is. Fake peace agreement. More.
So the peace agreement that I spoke of on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday was a fake peace agreement. So they're lying to the United States. No, they're lying to the American people. They're trying to look good to the world, but they really don't want peace. So,
Or recently posted on Instagram by an Israeli soldier, a shell inscribed with the words humanitarian aid. Aid is on the way, bon appetit, and it's literally a missile. How's that for your ceasefire? And then finally, I'll end on this one here, but plus 972 magazine did an investigation. Dozens of Israeli army's propaganda illustrations depicting alleged terror sites in Gaza, Iran, Lebanon, and Syria contain 3D assets taken from video game kits, an American content creator, and a Scottish maritime museum. So all the fucking 3D animations that they do, they say, oh, we got top secret intelligence, which shows us what this terror compound looks like in Gaza. Right. Completely and utterly fake. Literally jacked from video games. Insane. And then, by the way, the media is not going to cover. You will still have the media uncritically run whatever the IDF sends them about the next thing that they attack, right? Like they'll send them another bullshit 3D thing taken from a Scottish museum, and they'll run it like, this is the top secret layer of the mega terrorist that Israel's going to take out. So this is fake. What we're witnessing is fake. I refuse to play along with this fucking ruse, this facade, this nonsense. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, I think at this point Hamas was like, we have no leverage. Like, what are we going to do? And so they gave away the last bit of leverage they did have, the 20 hostages, but they got back about 2,000 Palestinian hostages. But now, I mean, you think Israel didn't give a fuck before about who they killed. Just wait. Now it's going to ramp up, if anything. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and...
That's wild. So basically what he's saying is the shit we saw on Monday, the shit they told us that was going to happen was a lie. Because this video came out on Tuesday. And he was saying on Tuesday that this was a fake. It was fake. Okay. And then someone told me as I was making the report that there were shots fired already. That the ceasefire had been started over. So there really was no 20-point peace plan. It was all fake. Just to get the hostages back. Okay, just to get the hostages back. Okay, after the ceasefire took effect on, I think it was Friday. Was it Friday? the hostilities were supposed to pause. Palestinian group Hamas said Israeli forces killed civilians despite the warnings. This is where we said that I thought the ceasefire had happened. This was going on behind the scenes. Israeli military said they opened fire to remove a threat after people approached their position that were part of the lines defined by the ceasefire. That's why Israeli shot at some Palestinians. So some Palestinians went towards the peace line, or the line that they drew for ceasefire, and the Israeli people shot those people. Okay. So they really don't know who shot first, but it seems as though Israeli is saying that they shot first. No, there's no independently verified person that said who shot first. Both Israel and Hamas blame the other one for the first shots, for the ceasefire being over. Okay. It went into effect on Friday. We had tensions between Friday and Tuesday. Multiple outlets reported clashes, killings near the ceasefire line, mutual accusations of violations. Hamas alleged that they killed forces, that they breached the truce first, accusing Israeli of initiating violations in some of the incidents reported. Israeli said they came towards the ceasefire line and they posed a threat, so that's what we did. There was an earlier clear break of a prior ceasefire in March. I told you we've been here before. When in March, Israel launched airstrikes that many outlets reported as shattering the truce. So Israeli shattered the truce. Bottom line, we really don't have any evidence. No independent third evidence to say who shot who first. Who did what first. Okay? Hold on. This is where we at right now. This is where we at right now. There's a concentrated effort for us to, there's a news blackout. Somebody just said in the comment section, why aren't they talking about X, Y, and Z? What did they say? Why aren't they talking about something? Hamas is executing people. Why they're not talking about any of those things? Because they know the peace agreement has fallen apart. The peace agreement has fallen apart. So they're not trying to talk about it so much. But I'm gonna play the videos here. Yeah, okay, Mark, your wife has a penis. I don't think I could live in a place like that. This is what you will begin to see in the United States if we allow this president to continue to put troops in people's neighborhood, in people's city. This is occupied city with a military occupation, which is what the president is trying to do in our neighborhoods. This is what it looks like. We aren't this far along, but we're going to get there if we continue to allow this president to do this with our troops. But see, we've been here before. We've seen these peace agreements. They've had agreement after agreement after agreement after agreement, and they've never come to an agreement. Okay. Welcome, Jessica. They've never come to an agreement. What makes us think just because you're talking to... See, here's the thing. Somebody has to go in there and say, if you two don't cut this shit out, we gonna handle this business. Somebody has to go in there and say, if you don't stop this shit, we gonna handle this business. Here's my thing. What president got the balls enough to do it? Donald J. Trump got the balls enough to do it. But see, the Jewish people, Israeli people, those Catholic, all those people would turn against Trump if he did that. But he's never going to get peace in the Middle East. You're never going to get that in the Middle East because they don't want that and they don't care. You have to force it. You have to force it. And if you don't force it, it's not going to happen. Yeah, this is the it's the checkpoint. This is how you want it to look, but no, we can't do that. Checkpoints in the neighborhood. You see the checkpoints in the neighborhood right here. This is what you're gonna look at if you continue to allow what Trump is doing. Absolutely, Rainbow City. Absolutely. My whole point is they're going to allow it. But you have a lot of black people and you have a lot of white people saying, yeah, come on in, Trump. Come on in and militarize the neighborhood. Do this to your neighborhood. Well, you see, he's trying to get us he's trying to get us used to seeing these things outside our home. So when they give us orders, we take orders and we do what they say. Okay? He's trying to get us used to seeing these things. I don't think I could get used to this. I could never get used to something like this. But there's people who can get used to this kind of thing. You could get used to it. It ain't no big deal. Let the people come on in. Let the soldiers come on into the neighborhood. People can get used to this. Look, y'all see that right there? Y'all see what it says? 24 hours after the peace agreement on Friday. 24 hours after the peace agreement on Friday, Israel opened fires. Okay? Open fires. They don't want no peace. Israel nor Palestine want any peace.
Israel's military says it opened fire in northern Gaza, targeting...
That's my whole point, Rainbow Kid. They need to be called onto the carpet for this bullshit. We already saw the images of those kids starving, being starved over there. We already saw those images. We can't unsee that shit. What kind of nation does that to people, innocent civilians? That's all I'm going to say. It's a moral issue for me.
What it called suspects who posed a threat to its forces. According to the IDF, the men had crossed into a restricted zone created after Israel's initial troop pullback, part of the new US-brokered ceasefire plan. But Gaza's local health authority paints a...
Trump has already sent 200 of our soldiers over there. Why did he send 200 of our soldiers over there? Why? What I think is this is what Trump is leading up to. He doesn't understand that what this will lead to, sending military troops into neighborhoods. Okay? Sooner or later, you're going to have more bloodshed than you need to, than it should happen. Okay? This over here, we're talking about this over here, this is never going to stop. This is unfortunate. He put 200 troops. Why did they send 200 troops over there?
A different picture, reporting 6 Palestinians killed in 2 separate Israeli firing incidents on Tuesday. Local officials say the strikes violated the very ceasefire meant to halt 2 years of war. The gunfire comes barely 24 hours after a major milestone, when Hamas freed the last living Israeli hostages and Israel released busloads of Palestinian detainees. It was the moment US President Donald Trump declared the end of a 2-year-long war that upended the Middle East.
But the momentous breakthrough that we're here to celebrate tonight is more than the end of the war in Gaza. It's with God's help, it'll be the new beginning for an entire beautiful Middle East. From this moment forward, we can build a region that's strong and stable and prosperous and united in rejecting the path of terror once and for all. We want to get rid of the terror and get on to other things. There are many other things in life that are so good.
Israel insists it acted within its rights, calling it a response to a direct threat. But Palestinian sources say the victims were unarmed civilians near a farming area, accusing Israel of undermining the fragile truce. The clash now casts a shadow over Trump's Middle East diplomacy. The White House had framed the ceasefire as a foreign policy victory, one that brought both Israel and Hamas.
Those people need a whole overhaul of that. They said, see, the thing is, remember in 1947, the UN told them that they were going to cut Israel in half and give half to Israel and half to Hamas. They have been fighting ever since, and Israel has been gaining more and more land against Hamas. There was some kind of war, 6-day war, and then Hamas beat all of those contenders to gain more land in Israel, right? So now Gaza or Palestinians are pushed to the brink. So my thing is, how is it going to be a 2-state solution if Israel's the big bully and Hamas is the small? I get it. Hamas is a terrorist organization. That's all somebody has to do is go in and take care of that terrorist organization and liberate those people. I just do what needs to be done. But I digress. Let's finish this.
Us to the table after years of bloodshed. Now, questions are being raised about whether peace on paper can survive on the ground. As bodies are buried in Gaza and Israel reviews its rules of engagement, the future of the truce remains uncertain. Both sides accuse the other of violating the ceasefire, and Washington faces its first real test as the guarantor of peace. A single bullet, it seems, may have reopened old wounds in a war that was supposed to be over.
See, the whole point is we sent 200 troops over there, right? We sent 200 troops over there. We setting up some kind of civilian military coordination center, something like that. They'll work on logistics, humanitarian aid, security, and planning. The only way this is going to work, and I hate to say it, but you're going to have to get rid of that Hamas. The Hamas, you're going to have to get rid of that Hamas, because Hamas is not trying to hear nothing that they got to say. I'm not saying anything is Hamas's fault. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Hamas has proven themselves incapable of stopping. And so has Israel. Okay? So has Israel. So we sent those 200 troops over there. Yeah, but they sent 200 troops. That ain't a lot. But they're on the 200 troops is only supposed to do logistics, humanitarian aid, security, planning. But they're not supposed to go into Gaza. They're only going to be in Israel on Israel's side. Okay? Okay, to help monitor this peace agreement. And seeing how there is no peace agreement, there ain't nothing for them to monitor, okay? They're not supposed to go over to the Gaza Strip. Their role is outside of Gaza, right? They're part of a larger multinational, I guess, task force. So they're going to be partnering with Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, okay? And United Arab Emirates. They're all going to participate and try to get something going in that region. See, the thing is, I don't understand how this is going to happen. How is it going to happen? The oversight, they're going to have oversight and monitoring to watch over whether the ceasefire is respected. So the ceasefire ain't going to be respected because it's already over by now. They wanted to help deliver food. Of course they needed to deliver food. Israel was not giving those people food. That's monstrous. That's monstrous. Okay? And then we had to go over there and coordinate with the allies to bring different regional partners. So it's not just United States acting alone. Here's the thing. Neither one of them want a ceasefire. Because Hamas said we gonna die trying. We gonna die trying. And Israel say we can't let you live. Because if we let you live, and this is the long and short of it. Hamas said y'all can't have our land. We gonna fight to the death. We'd rather die on our feet than die on our knees, and we're not gonna give in. Israel says, I can't let you live. I have to exterminate all of y'all. I have to initiate the termination of all of you all. So I cannot allow you to live because you will come back. If you let your enemy live, they're going to come back and slit your throat. It is what it is. So I never believed in the ceasefire, had my fingers crossed for the ceasefire, but no.
Hostages have been released.
Wait a minute, hold on. You guys are, okay, yeah.
From Hamas custody and have been identified, but the bodies of 21 people, including 2 American citizens, are still in Hamas hands. And President Trump is demanding the terror group release them and permanently disarm. The president writing on Truth Social, all 20 hostages are.
But New Hampshire red blood, did you just not hear what I said? It's never going to end. It's never going to end.
Back and feeling as good as can be expected. A big burden has been lifted, but the job is not done. The dead have not been returned as promised. Phase 2 begins right now.
I don't know whether the president was duped or he was just naive. I don't know whether he was naive or he was duped. Okay? But this has been occurring for every time they did a ceasefire. This has happened. Something broke down. Israel broke the ceasefire. Hamas broke the ceasefire. They're never going to stop because they don't want to. Okay? They don't want to. I just don't see. Here's my thing. I want this suffering for the people in Palestine to end. That's what I want. What I want is for Palestine to have their own piece of land. Have your own piece of land. Help them rebuild. Help them have their own dignity, their own home, and be left in peace. This is what I want. Bibi don't want those people to exist. If you talk to any of those people, the radical Israelis, the radical Palestinian, they don't want each other to exist. And the only way for this to have a ceasefire is if they both are forced to do that. Donald J. Trump is complicit in what Israel is trying to do. And they are trying, where is you at? Oh, and they're trying to get rid of the people, right? They're trying. Okay. So this is their way of saying, okay, well, I got the full-fledged backing of Donald Trump because Donald Trump goofy. He gonna stand behind me because don't nobody want to go against, nobody wants to go against Israel. Israel is so perfect. It's so X, Y, and Z. Nobody wants to go against them. Yes, yet and still, we saw those pictures and we can't unsee those pictures of those Palestinian people being starved. And yet we have our president not saying, I have to save those people. I wonder why our presidents, all of our presidents from here on back, haven't said, we're going to free those Palestinian people to have their own state. Why haven't we done? Because we haven't went in and just demanded that happen. We always waited for the Middle East to do what they needed to do. But the Middle East don't care about those small set of people in Palestine. They'd rather have that extinction, or they'd rather not go against Israel. I know, that's the problem. That's the issue right there. That's the problem right there.
Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Hqreactshq is a former IDF spokesperson and now a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, and he joins me now. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you so much for being here. We understand that you're standing in front of Kibbutz Nir Oz, which is the site of such devastation and destruction at the hands of Hamas on October 7th. And because Hamas has not released all of the bodies yet, yesterday Israel reduced the amount of aid flowing into Gaza and decided not to reopen the Rafah border crossing. So with that in mind, do you believe that this ceasefire will hold?
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me on. Just following on the previous item, as an Israeli civilian, I would strongly.
Yes, they just want to get rid of Hamas. AIPAC is one of the most powerful, I think it's a lobbying group in United States, in Congress. It influences governmental decisions, especially in Congress. Okay. Their whole main goal is to keep United States supportive of Israeli goals through military aid, diplomatic backing, and friendly policies. Okay. They work for the U.S. My whole thing is this. They meet with the lawmakers to educate them about Israeli security politics and threats. This is wild. Okay. Specific bills, funding for Israeli things. Why is it that they why can't we do both? I don't understand why we can't do both. Why we can't help both countries? Why can't Palestine be helped, and why can't Israel be helped too? Why is that? I don't understand. Because in order to help Israel, that means you're condemning Palestine. That's the whole point. That means you're condemning Palestine. I don't understand.
Endorse that effort by Speaker Johnson on behalf of millions of Israelis, ordinary people. They definitely believe that President Trump is.
That's my whole point. What does Israel need help with? Israel is a powerful country. Why does Israel need AIPAC? Why do we need AIPAC? AIPAC is a very influential lobby group. I just said that. It's a lobbying group, and it's one of the most powerful ones. Why do we need a lobbying group? Why does Israel need us to lobby to help them? Because they want us to be on their side when they do devastating things. Okay.
Should be rewarded that prize and many others, because what we enjoyed.
My point exactly. Killing more Palestinians and taking their land. Exactly. If that's the case, why not just snuff them out? Give them all dirt naps. Why not just give all the people dirt naps? Why not just do that? Okay. Why not just do that? Give the people dirt naps instead of fooling around with the people like that. Because y'all slowly starving the people, slowly bombing them out of their house. Why not just give everybody a dirt nap? Be done.
2 days ago was getting our brothers and sisters back. That was a tremendous achievement, and we're now in a ceasefire. That would not have happened without President Trump and his team. We understand that, we recognize it, and I hope that the truth and justice will be served. And
I didn't say I was banning you, Pat. You can say whatever you like, long as you don't say it against me, because I haven't said anything against you.
President Trump will be awarded that. Now to the situation on the ground. I think we are at the first test of how strong the metal is in terms of Israel and the U.S. And Hamas is testing the waters here. They're trying to not to release all the bodies of the hostages. Israel so far has
So now they having public executions in Gaza. Now, do you honestly think Hamas is going to give up what they got going on? They not. They know as soon as they put their guns down, Hamas puts their guns down in a ceasefire, they know that the Israelis are going to give them dirt naps. All of Hamas, you're getting dirt naps. It's inevitable. Get your stuff get your affairs in order. We handing out dirt naps to all of y'all. Not just you Hamas people. We giving out dirt naps all around. All around. Okay? They just pretending like they doing something nice. They just pretending like they being nice. I don't know. It looks like it to me, but I ain't no expert. I ain't no political expert. I didn't see none of them people starving them. I didn't see none of them starved people. I didn't see none of that. I didn't see none of that. Everybody act like they don't see. Everybody act like they don't see what's happening on the ground. We wouldn't be able to see you, Pat, if you was banned. I wouldn't be able to see you if you were banned. You're not banned. Okay. Everybody sees what's going on here. Everybody knows that there is no ceasefire. Okay? Everybody knows that. Does Donald Trump know there's not a ceasefire? Did he get duped into supporting Israel, knowing full well they had no intention of stopping what was going on? Okay? We don't know. I hope not. I hope this is a decent effort for them, but they have no reason to. They want a ceasefire, but neither one of them wants to step. Hamas knows the minute that they put their firearms down, they know their life is over. They know that their life is over if they put their guns and ammo down. They know that. Okay? They know that. Okay? But they're having public executions in the street. I'm not going nowhere near that. I'm not even showing that. I'm not even doing an advertisement of that. This is where Trump is.
Failed to disarm and hand over the remaining deceased hostages.
It comes as the Israeli military releases the names of those returned so far.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Hqreactshq joins us now from Israel. Good morning, Trey. Yeah, hey, Lawrence, good morning. Overnight, Hamas released the bodies of 3 additional hostages. The total number still in Hamas captivity stands at 21. The release of these bodies may be a sticking point before entering into phase 2 of the agreement. Regional media reports that Egyptian teams will enter Gaza to help Hamas locate the remains. One of the bodies that was released earlier this week was that of Yossi Sharabi. His brother Eli was held hostage for nearly 500 days. He spoke last hour with Fox and Friends, saying this.
It was a mixed feeling for our family. We got closure with Yossi's body after 2 years. Very sad closure, but it gave us the opportunity to have a grave to cry on.
Inside Gaza, reaction continues to the ceasefire deal. There's also an incredibly dangerous environment for Palestinian civilians, as Hamas has executed a number of people accused of stealing aid and working with Israel. President Trump was asked about Hamas yesterday and their commitment to disarm as part of the broader peace plan.
We have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. And I spoke to Hamas, and I said, you're going to disarm, right? Yes, sir, we're going to disarm. That's what they told me. They will disarm or we will disarm them. Got it?
Yeah, the thing is, are they going to disarm? Are they going to disarm? The second and third phases are not fully realized yet. We are not even going near the second phase, third phase. They need negotiations during the first phase to initiate the second phases. And the second phases include taking guns or putting the arms down. I don't think that's going to happen for Hamas. Hamas is not going to disarm because they know if they do that, they know their life is over. You know, I've been fighting you for so long. You think I'm finna put my guns down and let you have the guns, but I don't have no guns? That's not going to happen. And so that's why I say this ceasefire is never going to work. Okay. Israel is not going to withdraw. So my question is this: why don't you all put a program in place where you all make a ceasefire, or you all make a map, draw a map, and let Hamas have a certain amount, or let Palestinians have a certain amount of the land? Okay, why not do that? Because Israel is not willing to give up land. They weren't willing to give up land after that 6-day war. They're not willing to give up land now, right?
A spokesperson for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to brief the media later today with an update on the state of the ceasefire. Guys, back to you.
So when he says we'll disarm them, Trey, do you believe the president means we as in the IDF? He doesn't plan on sending American troops in there to disarm them, right?
My sense is in the region right now is anything is possible if the ceasefire doesn't move forward, but it's tough to get ahead of what we know right now. The current plan, as laid out by the president in this 20-point peace deal, is to have Hamas lay down their arms, the leadership leave Gaza.
Wait a minute, why is it that Hamas has got to lay down their arms? Why they can't lay down their arms at the same time? Why is it that troops can't come in and make sure that both sides lay their arms down? Why is it that America, if you're going to send some troops over there, why not send troops over there to help them lay arms down? Okay, why can't that be something that American troops do, or the European, or the Egypt or Turkey or whatever troops help them do that? Because they obviously don't want to do it themselves. They don't want to do that at all themselves. So my question is, what are you going to do? You're going to allow them? You're going to allow them to do they both apparently cannot do the ceasefire. So somebody has to do it for them.
And some Hamas members who commit to a peaceful future for the enclave be granted amnesty. And so it's a deal that actually benefits Hamas if they follow through with it. If they do not, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country would go back to war against the terrorist organization. The question now is what this timeline will look like, understanding that these images we see from inside Gaza show Hamas taking back to the streets of the enclave and executing their opponents.
Trey, isn't it fair to say it's hard to rebuild Gaza? It's hard to give food and water and other resources if you have a terrorist organization that's running the street. No one wants to go in there with that happening, right?
Absolutely, and that's why this broader peace plan presented by the Americans does two things. First, it has an international stabilization force. Other countries will be committing soldiers to help stabilize the situation inside Gaza. And second, there will be an influx of aid to the enclave as broader coalitions of countries, including Israel and the United States, work to usher in a technocratic government for the Gaza Strip, a more moderate government that is focused on rebuilding and focused on prosperity for the Palestinian people rather than war and trying to fight Israel.
And you know, once they get that new government in there, they're going to kill all the rest of those people. Okay? They're going to kill all the rest of those people. Therein lies the problem right there. Nobody wants to give up and nobody wants to stop. Nobody wants to stop fighting. Okay? And this is where we're at. What are we going to do? Somebody put in the chat. What could they do? This is what I would do. This is what I would do. And I'm going to say this, you know, it's going to be controversial, but this is what I would do. I would have a two-state solution. Of course, I would have a two-state solution. Of course. There would be a two-state solution. Why, first of all, why did these peace deals fall apart? Okay? Why did these peace deals fall apart? There is no trust on each side. Each side, there is no trust. Okay? Nobody trusts each other. Okay? Nobody strong enough is watching in order for them to keep these peace deals the way they're supposed to. There's no neutral group on the ground to enforce the peace deal. Nothing really changes when they do have these peace deals. People's lives don't get better, so anger and revenge stays throughout. Leaders gain power with conflict. Hamas continues to grow stronger and stronger. They keep fighting relevant. They have tunnels. They have all kinds of things where they don't get killed, but the civilians get killed. So to make a two-state solution actually work, the world would have to do something. The world would have to do something way stronger and more serious than what they've been doing. The world would have to do that. I thought, Jesus, I saw something crazy. New Hampshire, that's wild. That's crazy as hell. I don't know where y'all be living. I swear to God, I don't know where y'all be living at. This is a two racist channel anyway. Are you crazy, Pat? You ain't never heard me say no crap like that. Stop it. Stop it. So, in order for the two-state solution to work, we would have to have something way stronger happen and more serious than the last attempts. I don't know what, but it's got to be better than what they've been doing. Okay? It's got to be better than what they've been doing. It's going to be an extreme, or I would say extreme plan. This is what I would do. And people say, she crazy. You shouldn't be, you crazy. But this is what I would do. One, the world has to step in. United States, Egypt, whatever. The world would have to step in for this to happen. Before anybody can rebuild or negotiate, the fighting must stop completely. Okay? The fighting must stop completely. The UN or a group of neutral countries like Canada, Japan, or some Arab nation or whatever need to send peacekeepers to physically stand between Israel and Hamas soldiers. Physically stand between those two. Okay? Nobody gets to move weapons. And any side that breaks the rule automatically faces punishment, consequences, like losing their international money or travel rights. Off the bat, this is what I would do if I was the big dog on the block. Aid and supply would be flown into Gaza safely and guarded by neutral forces. So the people would be able to eat, drink, sleep. They have disease and everything else running rampant in that country because they don't have food and drink clean water. This is what I would do. Step one. A neutral group would come in and stand between the Israeli soldiers and Hamas. Number two, nobody gets to move any kind of weapons. All the weapons you would have to stand down, put the weapons down. Two, aid and supply would be able to come into the country and feed the Gazan people. That would be the first step. That would be phase number two. If I was the big dog on the block, if that would be my whole thing, because you two, Israel and Palestine, you're acting like two kids. You're acting like you don't understand when someone says stop fighting. So since you don't understand what it means to stop fighting, I'll stop you. I'll stop you. If I was the big dog, I'd stop you. But since people are so afraid of people are so afraid of Israel, and they're afraid of what the world would say if you did this, Donald Trump probably would be the only motherfucker that would probably try it. And he's too scared to try it because he doesn't want to deal with the consequences of going against Israel. Okay? But I would make sure there would be peacekeepers that aren't Israeli or Hamas. Nobody gets to move guns. All the guns would be put down, or we would make you put them down. Food would come in to feed Gaza. That would be the first thing. It's sort of like having a strict referee who can actually throw somebody's ass out of the game. Throw their ass out of the game. If you don't want to play ball, we're tired of this fighting. We're tired of you fighting. We're tired of you starving Palestinian people. We're tired of you taking hostages. We're tired of you all having war. We're tired of these pictures of these people not having a place to stay. Mm-hmm. Step number two, international control. I would have somebody be in control of both countries. While things calm down, the world helps run Gaza and parts of the West Bank for a short time, maybe 1 to 5 years, maybe 5 years. Not colonize it, sort of like being a babysitter until both sides can handle the peace. Okay? We would need a trusted coalition to come in, including the Arab countries. Okay? Help rebuild the schools, hospitals, police forces, etc., in Gaza. All the fighters, including Hamas, they have to turn in their weapons. All the fighters, in exchange for a chance to rebuild their nation and get a local government. Okay? I think they're monsters. And here's the thing. Are they going to publicly go after those monsters? Okay? Think of it, the second phase, think of it as when a teacher steps in to stop a fight, holds everybody apart, and helps them rebuild trust before letting them work with each other again. This is what a second phase would be. Everybody would have turned in their weapons. We would have a neutral person stand in daily and help all of these things build itself. Build school, hospitals, police forces. Step 3 would build a new government for Palestine. Everybody would re-elect they would be able to re-elect people who would focus on daily lives, do moderate leaders that would be able to help build a government. People from different groups, women, community leaders help write a whole nother constitution for that country. Okay, that guarantees the freedom and the safety. And we give them, and the whole world gives them money to rebuild, gives money to Palestine to rebuild, but only if it's used in the right way, because they would have somebody to monitor all that. Okay, if leaders steal or start trouble, the money stops. You get rewarded for doing the right thing. And once both sides have working governments and safe borders, Israel stays a country, and Palestine becomes its own country beside Israel, with borders agreed upon on both sides. Jerusalem gets to be shared with special international supervision to make sure all faiths can visit holy sites. I know it's a long feud. Refugees get they get to choose. Move to the new Palestine or stay where they are and get compensation and resettle somewhere else with the help from an international fund. 2 neighbors, 2 homes with some kind of fence. Safe borders. Number 5, it would be strict enforcement. This plan only works if breaking the deal actually hurts somebody. If Israel or Palestine breaks the truce, they automatically lose money, trade deals, or diplomatic support. Peacekeepers stay until both sides show years of good behavior. Okay? Every act of revenge or violence is investigated by independent courts, not just the sides blaming each other. No more he said, she said. This is an extreme way in order to stop this war. It's extreme because it takes the power away from both sides. And they both have to let outsiders run things. Otherwise, they're going to go back to what they've been doing. It's peaceful because no one is kicked out or destroyed. It's about separating, cooling off, and rebuilding. It's realistic only if big countries like the United States, Egypt, and European countries all agree to back up the troops with money and political pressure. Okay, that's the only way it would work. Okay, the honest to God truth is it's going to cost billions of dollars to rebuild. It only works if the ordinary people are willing to give peace a chance. Not Hamas, but the regular peace people. Extremists on both sides could try to sabotage peace and stay relevant, but they would be stifled down. But see, here's the big truth. To get a 2-state solution over in Israel, to get a 2-state solution, somebody neutral and powerful must step in and take control for a while. They have to enforce the rules, rebuild the lives, and then step back. It's extreme because it takes away the freedom from both sides. Just for a little bit. But it might be the only way to get lasting peace. Because these 2 countries, these 2 factions, sanctions, groups don't seem to get that nobody wants to fight with you. Nobody wants to fight with you anymore. But either one is going to annihilate the other. Sooner or later, Israel is going to annihilate the Palestinian people. But the Palestinian people are going to do damage along the way. Okay? And that's the thing. Do we want to continue to have damage, or do we want to have some kind of solution? I don't know. People want to have a problem with doing what they got to do. It isn't black fatigue. It's stupid fatigue. Yeah, you're right.
President Trump says phase 2 of his Gaza peace plan is underway. However, arriving at an agreement in the second phase may prove much more difficult than phase 1. That's because it requires Hamas to disarm. But so far, the terror group has given no indication it is willing to give up its weapons. Joining us to share his insights on the Gaza.
No, New Hampshire, we're not going over that again. All the stats say something different. We're not going over that again.
As a deal is Alex Trayman. He's CEO and Jerusalem bureau chief of Jewish News Syndicate. Alex, a key provision of phase 2 of the Gaza peace plan is disarming Hamas. President Trump says if they don't disarm, they'll be forcibly disarmed. So what's the enforcement mechanism here? What's the plan to seize their weapons if they don't voluntarily give them up?
Well, first and foremost, they're still firing at Palestinians in the Strip. Those that had been considered to be collaborating with Israel are being shot down in the street. The CENTCOM commander, Admiral Brad Cooper, stating that Hamas is shooting at innocent Palestinians. The plan, but also stressed that those 200 troops would not be going inside the Gaza Strip. So it's not clear who is going to force Hamas to disarm. The Prime Minister's office here in Israel is stating emphatically that as far as they're concerned, we're still in phase 1 of the deal. All of the bodies of hostages haven't been returned. And at the same time, that if Hamas refuses to disarm, that we will not get to a phase 2 of the deal, and that Hamas is going to be disarmed one way or the other, whether they stand down and disarm themselves or the International Stabilization Force does that. If not, Israel is going to do it.
Well, Israel says it will not withdraw completely until Hamas is disarmed. And
see, that's what they want. Starving people to death, and I give up my guns. I know they don't want to do that. That's crazy. If I give up my guns, then that's all you got to do is starve me out. Nobody wants to get. I don't understand what's going. They need an outside force. They need an outside force to help them get through this peace deal. And us standing back and not doing anything is not helping. Okay, it's not helping. I don't know whether they duped President Trump or not, but he needs to do more than what he's doing. Okay. You need to do more than what you're doing. Okay. Because this is whatever you're doing is not working. Because they back at it fighting again.
I guess the IDF claims it has destroyed 90% of Hamas's military capabilities and their fighters. So what's left to get?
Well, I think that that's correct, that really Hamas has been filed down something like 80 to 90%. In terms of the potential of Hamas to threaten the Israeli home front right now, considering that the IDF is still holding about 50% of the Gaza Strip, and even when they pull back, there's going to be a significant buffer zone in between the areas that are controlled in Gaza by Palestinians and by Israel, which was attacked on October 7th, so that you won't be able to have another October 7th style attack. But at the same time, part of what Israel requires is that Hamas not be the ones governing.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and what I just can't get by, You had that October 7th thing that Hamas pulled on the deadliest attack on Israel on October 7th. I get all of that. But when do you make a person say uncle? When does a person get to say uncle? Haven't you see, the thing is, they'd rather die than give up the rest of their homeland. That's the thing. If nobody steps in, it won't happen. And I thought Donald Trump was going to go over there and actually step in and say, both of you guys put your weapons down, and then we going to have a peace deal right now. But neither one of those sides are good faith. Neither one of those sides are acting in good faith. That's the problem. And as long as neither of those sides are acting in good faith, this is what's going to happen. Okay? This is what's going to happen, since both sides, neither one of them want to act in good faith. Because Hamas is never going to put their weapons down. It is what it is. Okay, you guys, I just opened up those phone lines. Anybody want to call in and have a comment or a question? Have a comment regarding this? I would love to comment. I would love to hear what people think about this whole Hamas thing. What do you think about it? Are they going to be able to keep this peace deal, or try to keep what they got going on? I don't know whether it's a peace deal or not. I don't know whether they call it a peace deal I don't know whether they even going to deal with these people on a permanent basis in any way, shape, or form. Beyond this, I don't know. Okay. But the whole point is we got to do something if we want to see these people not starve to death. Okay. But these people are starving to death over here in Gaza. Okay. We don't know what is happening. Okay. Nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows whether this is going to last. More than likely, it's not going to last. Okay. More than likely, it's not going to last. Because it didn't last no longer than how long? It only lasted like 2 or 3 days. Okay. 2 or 3 days. And it never went beyond that. No. And that's my whole point. My whole point is we're going to have this peace in the Middle East. Is never going to, oh my God, I don't want to see no public executions. I don't want to see nothing like that. You know, I don't want to see nothing like that. Okay. Let me see. I was trying to get past the public execution thing. Hold on. I was trying to get past that, but it's a lot of things that are on TV, you know, a lot of things that are there, and you don't want to see those because I don't think they allow that kind of stuff on YouTube. But show you something. Yeah.
Instead of fighting Israel, Palestinians are fighting Palestinians. Hamas is reasserting control, taking on its rivals and settling scores. On Friday, Israel withdrew its troops in Gaza back to this area in green, leaving the area in white, where Hamas is now trying to regain control. In places like Khan Yunis, where our team filmed armed Hamas fighters parading with their weapons on Monday.
We're still banned from going into Gaza, so we're trying to piece together, along with our team inside there, what is going on. And what seems clear is Hamas is taking on rival clans and militia.
Some of the most intense fighting has been between Hamas and the powerful Dogmush clan in a battle around an abandoned hospital here.
We've spoken to members of the Dogmush family who say Hamas came to arrest 4 of them, accusing them of collaborating with Israel. They refused to hand themselves in and opened fire instead, and in the ensuing fighting, the son of a senior Hamas leader was killed. The Dogbush family say they are now victims of a revenge campaign by Hamas.
An elder from the Dogmush family has told us that Hamas went on the rampage.
Hamas began a systematic destruction of properties, resources and homes in a terrifying way. I can understand when the occupation bombs houses, destroys resources and private property, it seeks displacement. But what I cannot understand is this deliberate destruction and burning of homes.
See, I can't do that public. Okay.
From half of Gaza. Hamas seems to be trying to send a message to its rivals as it tries to reassert its authority.
Another Palestinian we spoke to who witnessed the fighting told us people in the area
I know
do
what I
not
gotta
want Hamas to take back control.
سياسة الترهيب والنار رجعت 17 عاما إلى الخلف تقاتل وتدمر وترهب.
Hamas rules through fear and fire. It has taken us back 17 years, killing, destroying and terrorizing the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people want elections, parliamentary and presidential, with international supervision inside Gaza so that we can finally have legitimate leadership.
Is that true? Is that what they really want? Do they really want that? Do they really want an international group to help them put Palestine back together again? Okay? That's the whole thing. If you want that, then you need to be pleading with Donald Trump. You need to be pleading with Donald Trump to tell him we want you to help us put our stuff back together. You need to be pleading with Donald Trump instead of saying, I want to continue to fight with Israel, pleading with Donald Trump to say, hey, I need help. We need help over here. But that's not what you're doing. You're executing your own people in your own street. Okay? You're executing your own people in your own street. This is what's happening. What's going on?
Hamas insists it is only enforcing law and order to prevent chaos in Gaza and is not settling old scores.
The security forces are carrying out their lawful duty to